lot of people will give us financial advice, from our friends to our families to random people on the internet. But what if most of what you have heard is completely wrong and there's a different way to live life? Minimalism has become really popular because of all the amazing benefits it can give to your personal life. But today I wanted to look at those same principles of minimalism and apply those to our financial life, and how you can really get an insane amount of freedom and completely turn your life around within a few years, just from looking at these principles and really getting spending under control, earning more, and then learning how to invest, and how you can take that to completely transform your life. Discover your why. So usually when people start minimalism, it's because something happened in their life. Maybe it was a tragedy, or maybe they just got to the point where they decided, I want to have less clutter around my life. Something's not right. I need to make some drastic changes in order to improve my life. And usually it's the same thing with your financial situation. You'll get to the point where you're saying, I don't want to work till I'm 65. I don't want to give the best part of every single day of my life to earn money and then never have enough of it. I really need to make some changes. So I think the first step is understanding your why, understanding why you need to make a change. Whether you want to have more time with your family, you just want to work less, you want to take back control over your life, you want to be able to travel more. What is your main why? And that'll make a huge impact as we go to the other rules. Have a strong and simple plan. A wise man once said that if you don't know where you're trying to go, how will you know when you get there? I think it's really important to have a clear and simple plan of where you're trying to go. So you can't just really say, I want to have a better life, I want to have more money. That's not really a goal. You need to decide what your actual goal is so that you can figure out the steps in order to get to that goal. So let's say you want to be out of your job that you don't like in the next 3 years. Well, in order to do that, what are you going to need to change? Like, how much money are you going to need in order to be out of that job? For instance, when it was me, for my job, I said, if I can get my expenses down to $2,000 a month, and then I can buy 2 rental properties, and that will earn me $2,000 a month, then I'll have all my living expenses covered, and I can leave my day job, and I can just do side hustles and things that I'm actually really interested in, and that'll make up whatever difference that I need. And I think pretty much anybody in the world can do that. Within 3 to 5 years, you can get your expenses low enough and then your passive income high enough through real estate investing to be able to leave your job. Now, that's not for everybody. For some people, it might be, I need to start a business, or I need to start investing in the stock market, or whatever your plan is, but you need to have a plan to get your expenses down so that you don't need as much money in order to survive on, and that way you're able to leave your job sooner, or whatever your goals are for you. I think just having that overarching goal and then breaking down the steps is a great way to get there. That's right, I'm joining the floor gang. Decluttering is something that's super important. I know when I first did it, when I was beginning my minimalist track that I am on here, it really made a big difference, and you feel a lot less cluttered, a lot less weighed down in your personal life. It just struck me that this shot probably would have been just as nice if I was sitting on the couch, but there's something minimalist about, sitting on the floor. Why do all minimalist thumbnails have people sitting on the floor with a white background? Every single one of them, doesn't matter what the topic's about. The thumbnail for this video will probably be me sitting on the floor, like holding money or something. It's just what gets clicks. It's really weird. Anyways, it really made a big impact on my life, and I felt less stressed, less weighed down. I had more freedom. I only had the stuff that I really liked and brought me joy and value. And I'm still on that path. I'm still working on bettering myself, and having less stuff. And I do have too much stuff right now. I'm slowly working on getting it down. But I think decluttering your finances is also just as important and has just as many benefits. So when you're trying to declutter your finances, you want to go through your budget, your expenses, your last bill from your credit card, and look at each and every line item and ask, does this bring joy and value to me? And that's not just the things, the lattes, the shirts, and all that type of stuff, which is absolutely important to look at and say, should I have spent this much money on Amazon? Like, all those things are important, they do add up. But you also have to look at the big items as well, like your housing payment, your car payment, and realize, if I didn't have this car payment and I found out a different way, to get a car cheaper, could I work 1 day less a week and have that much more freedom in my life? Would that bring me a lot of joy and value? Or could I leave my job, 5 years earlier if I didn't have this? Or if I had a smaller house, could I work one more less day a week, you know, because that's $1,000 between the two of them right there. If you go from a $1,500 payment to a $1,000 payment and you get rid of your $500 a month car payment because you got cash, you got an older car, something like that. If you're able to get all your expenses down, then you have so much more freedom. You have the money to invest, you have the money to save up and have that security in case, the world shuts down. You have all those same benefits of having less stress, having more freedom, having, the things that you spend money on, you really feel good about and you don't feel guilty about them anymore. If you want to go extreme with this, try closing your bank account or closing your credit cards and then only start things back up again when you realize that it is essential and that it's super, super important, or it's gonna bring you like a ton of value. So maybe you have gym memberships and all these subscriptions to these different things and you cancel your credit cards and now they all stop. You're gonna realize really quickly which ones, hey, I was using Netflix every single day and I was getting a ton of value out of that. I liked that, I had fun with family with it. I'm gonna get Netflix again. But you know what? I just realized that I never listened to, my Spotify premium and my Audible this and, like all those other things, my gym membership, I haven't used it in 6 months, all those different things. And you realize what's super, super important by cutting everything and then only going back on the things that really add a lot of value to you. So that's just something that I've done a few different times and I would highly recommend. It really helps. If you guys are enjoying this video and you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. This will change your relationship with money, and every time you spend, you will think a little bit differently and you'll ask that question, is this worth $5 of freedom? Is this worth $10 or $100 or $1,000 of my freedom? And if not, you don't spend on it. So not only are you looking at, will this clutter up my home? Does this bring me joy and value? But you're also asking, does this bring me enough value that I can sacrifice a little bit of my freedom for it? Because you have to realize that every dollar that you have, you had to earn $1.30 in order to get that dollar. So let's say you spend $100 on something, that's actually $130 that you had to earn because of taxes. You gotta love taxes. And then there's also the opportunity cost that you're missing out on, where if you invested this $100 now, in 5 years it might be $120, in 10 years it might be $200 or $400, and in 30 years it might be multiple thousands of dollars that you're spending right now. So every time you're looking at that $5 latte, it might be a $50 latte in 10 years. So there is that balance of some things you do need to spend money on, you do need to enjoy life now, but you also are gonna need to make sacrifices if you wanna be one of those people who are able to retire in their 20s or 30s, or at least leave their job and do something that they love, kind of like what I've done. It almost has nothing to do with how much money you're making. It really comes down to how much money that you're spending. If you can get your spending down to that $2,000 a month range, and you can figure out a way to make $2,000 a month passively, which anybody can do in 3 to 5 years, then at that point you've reached financial freedom pretty much, and you've taken back your life, you've taken back your time. You can do whatever fulfills you and whatever you enjoy and whatever brings value to other people. Make a simple, straightforward system. I'm sure I'm not the first person who's gone through and decluttered a ton of stuff in their house, and then a week later, maybe 2 weeks, maybe the next day, things get out of hand again and you're back where you started. And the solution I've found for that is to have a system and have a place for everything, so that way things don't get on the counter and they don't get left around. If everything has a place and there's a system where you don't just throw your mail on the table where it goes in its own slot and everything is systematized, it makes things a lot simpler. After you set up that system, it makes everything kind of go on autopilot after that. You have to do the same thing with your financial life, where you're creating systems, you're creating a budget, you're creating rules for yourself. Maybe it's simply choosing a budgeting method. Maybe you're just using Mint, the app. I used to use that, or maybe you're just using a pad of paper or an Excel sheet, depending on what works for you. And every month you look through your last month of spending, and maybe you realize a lot of things that you spent money on didn't really have any lasting joy, any lasting value, and you look at that for the future and you try to cut those out. Never cut out coffee. It could just be as simple as setting up things on auto pay so that everything's automated. You never miss a payment. You never accrue that interest. If you have a tendency to miss your mortgage payment or your credit card payment or any of those, you just set them up on auto pay, creating as many systems as possible to make things as easy as possible to save as much money as possible can really make a huge impact. Spend money freely on things that bring you value. It's also just as important to decide the things that do bring you that value and are worth spending money on, what things really bring you happiness, or even if it's donating money, what you think really is gonna make an impact, deciding on what those are and then not feeling guilty about spending money on those things. This is something that I struggle with, where I can do pretty good about cutting down my expenses and saving money as much as possible. But when it comes to spending on myself, it's something that I have a hard time doing, even though I think it's really, really important to spend money on things that bring you joy, things that bring you value. Now, there's a lot of things that you can do for free that can really make you happy and bring you joy as well, but there are some things where money can buy experiences, and I think it's really good to build up those memories, build up experiences, find ways to travel and to spend time with others. As much as going out and spending $20 on a meal and a drink is a waste of money when you could have gotten that same stuff for $5, every once in a while, it's worth it to go out and spend that money if you're gaining a really good experience with your friends or family. Have a growth mindset. Most minimalists not only want to better themselves by having less stuff, and if you're watching this video, probably having more money, but also you need to be better as a person, because you can be as rich as anybody, but if you don't have the right mindset to go along with it, it won't really make much difference. That's why most people, when they win the lottery, they're broke within a couple of years, because they never changed their mindset. They had more money, but a lot of times more money won't solve your problems unless you change your life situation and change how you think. That's why I listen to audiobooks and I watch YouTube videos like this one. And recently, it's time for the ad. I've been using Skillshare recently, which is an online learning platform thing where you can take like free classes online for the first 2 months. If you use the link in the description, I'd highly recommend that. Right now I'm doing one on photography. I really enjoy that. I'm trying to be a better photographer, and then I'm gonna take a cooking one once I'm finished this one, because I like to cook and I just wanna be better at it. So I think just making sure that you're trying to grow and evolve as a person and not just stopping once you're not forced to learn anymore is what differentiates you know what I'm trying to say. It's what separates people from, you know, the average to the above average, and it can make you happier and healthier and just be better for a lot of things in your life. So if you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. And new videos on minimalism and finances every single week. So stick around for that, and also drop a like if you want to. So far, I really enjoyed Skillshare, so feel free to use the link in the description, and it is an affiliate link, so I do make a little money, which helps me make more videos. So if you want to support the channel, that is a cool way to do it. And I'll see you hopefully next week.